thanks so much for stopping by Creator Best Life for a brand new video. I'm Kimani, and as you can see by the title, this is episode 2 of our Write With Me about the Muses of Hercules. So last time we just worked on general ideas and developing our world and who our characters are, and did a little bit of research about Hercules, Zeus, the goddesses, the muses, and just Greek mythology in general, just to get a better idea of who these goddesses are and who their characters will be. And I also learned that there were actually 9 and not 5, which were actually the only ones in the film. So what my understanding is that Disney had combined a couple of the muses into one character just so that they could be 5. Probably cleaner, definitely easier to write for, which I found. Today we are talking about said muses, all of the characters. I included all 9 and wrote down a little bit of what I want their personalities to be, how I want them to move through the world, what their wants and needs are, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get started. So if you see me looking down a lot, I'm actually looking down at my tablet, which is in my lap, and I wrote a ton of notes about each character, and it was based on what they are goddesses of. And I also wrote a bit about who I want the villains to be and why they're the villain, and that's what we're gonna jump right into right now. So first, surprise, surprise, it is Calliope. Obviously, she's the oldest, and like I said in the last episode, she's the goddess of epic poetry. So I have her as responsible because she's the oldest, and as a black character, a lot of firstborn black daughters are the responsible ones they've made to be more mature and depended on. So that's what I made her, because it's just true to form with everyday life. So I've decided to kind of make this story have elements of Greek mythology, elements of what Disney made these characters to be, and then elements of today's world and what that looks like, and very much so a little bit of women empowerment and just what today's women would be going through, specifically black women. So I just wanted to do my own little spin on it and see how that worked out, because it's true to me, and if it's true to me, it's going to be a better story. So that's why I did that. So if you see something or hear something that is like, oh, that's not what Disney was doing, well, that's because Disney's not writing it. I am. So I'm just having a good time. So like I was saying, I have Calliope as the oldest daughter. She's responsible, elegant / regal. I have her as the practical one. She's the protector, and she wants peace and safety, just because that's what, like, she's not the mom, but like maternal oldest sibling figure would want for their siblings. And they don't necessarily get to have the freedom to choose what they want, because they're always thinking about other people. So I would say Calliope probably lacks a few boundaries, and her battle would be to find herself and figure out what those boundaries are and make sure that she expresses them so people don't cross them. Next, we have Cleo, who, as said before, is the goddess of history. I said that she has mild depression because she focuses on the past. She has mild anxiety because she doesn't know what's going to happen in the future, and what she really wants is peace for herself, but also like peace for everybody, and she doesn't want to make her father Zeus upset, because my idea was that the goddesses are kind of at odds with each other, specifically because some of them want to go down to earth, and then some of them want to stay on Mount Olympus, and some of them, the ones that want to go down to earth, have their own wants and dreams for what they want to do based on what they are goddesses of, who their true being is, but also they want to be able to share their gifts with the world, and also don't necessarily want to be the entertainment for the rest of Mount Olympus anymore. So I get that. Third on our list, we have Melpomene, and she is the goddess of tragedy and acting. So she is very dramatic. She makes everything a big deal. She creates messes and wants to stir the pot. So I thought that that would be a real fun character to include, and I am just super excited to write scenes with her in it. Fourth, we have Terpsichore, and I have her as, yeah, she's the goddess of dance, and she was actually in the original Hercules movie that Disney made. Not the original Hercules movie, but she was in the TV show, and I think I talked about that a bit in our previous video. She was definitely in an episode of the TV show showing him how to dance, because he had like this dance class or whatever. So that was a lot of fun to watch that episode, and I'm just looking forward to writing Terpsichore because I have her as she wants to take her talents to Earth. She's ambitious and she's a free spirit. So very obstinate, very like Ariel from the Little Mermaid types, except she's not going down for a man. She's going down because she's just excited about what she can do in life in general. So next we have Talia. Talia is the goddess of comedy. She wants to be a comedian on Earth because there are no female comedians on Earth. And I have her as funny, and she uses puns a lot, which is very fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to write because I personally love puns. Any quirky, weird humor, I'm there for. And I have her as self-deprecating humor as well. And I thought that that would be a lot of fun to write too because it's very true to everyday life because a lot of us do it anyway. Next I have Euterpe. Euterpe is the goddess of music. So she wants to start an R&B group and she wants to be a sex symbol. And she's always the character that is breaking out into song, but she's too afraid to leave because the group, as in all 9 of the sisters, need to stick together. So I thought that that would be very interesting and like a tug on her heart where she's like, this is where I want to be, but I also want to be with my family as well. So like the band is breaking up essentially, and I just want to have a good time and sing and have this band going, the camaraderie. Next we have is Erato, who is the goddess of lyric and erotic poetry. And I have Erato as publishing poetry books, well, they're basically scrolls, under a pseudonym because, you know, back in the day, a lot of artists weren't women, and if they were women, they had to go under pseudonyms. So I thought that that would be a cool element for her. And I said that she wants to come forward, but women have to be modest and kind of like shy away from, you know, being seen and fame essentially. Like you basically like the trope that women should be seen and not heard like years ago. Some people still feel that way, but we're talking now. And so that's what I have Erato as because I thought that that would be a really great element to take because and bring in a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new way of life that we're living. 8th we have Polymnia. Polymnia is the goddess of hymns. And so I have her as she calms every room that she's in. A lot of times people will label her as being toxic positivity all the time, and so I thought that that would be an interesting level because like for her personality, based on her gifts, I have her as someone that likes to diffuse situations and likes to bring like a sort of calm and peace over people. And because she's always so positive, then people are like, ooh, why are you being so positive? Like you're ignoring all the problems and whatever. And I feel like there's a disconnect between people that want to have positivity in their life and people that think that that person only cares about being positive versus actually feeling what you're feeling and then moving on. However, that's what I wanted to get at for Polymnia. And I also said that she wants to make everyone do what they're supposed to do. So basically just like have harmony between everybody. So she's another one of the peacemakers as opposed to like the ones trying to shake things up. Last on our list is Urania. And I have Urania as the goddess of astrology and astronomy, and I thought it would be cool for her character to be always asking people what time they were born so that she could figure out what their sun and moon signs are. And then I have her as wanting to show humans how to follow the stars and like use that for direction and use that for guidance, just spiritually, but also direction in terms of like follow the constellations and you can figure out where you're going, stuff like that. So I thought that that would be a cool way to display her gifts in this story. So those are all of our goddesses, what their needs and wants are, and just little tidbits of their personalities that will either be for or against leaving Mount Olympus. So that will be further developed as the story develops between us. And I think that this is just a really good base to start with. So I'm super excited with how this is going to go and super excited to further develop these characters as we go on. Last time I asked about antagonists because that's very important. We talked about the themes already, but antagonists are super important because what is stopping them from doing what they want to do? So I had Hades written down because like he just makes a great villain. He's already a villain. However, I think I want to specifically focus more on Zeus and their mom. And then I also wanted to focus on the rest of the gods and goddesses on Mount Olympus. So their other siblings could be, you know, totally against them leaving because like all the gods and goddesses live on Mount Olympus. Why would you go down to Earth and be with the plebeians? It just doesn't make sense. But then it could also be, you know, other gods and goddesses there that want them to stay because they're like, what do you mean you're leaving? You're my only entertainment. So basically they're like slaves to these other gods and goddesses, and you know, their only job is to entertain them and nothing else. So that's totally unfair and they should have autonomy over their life. So basically I wrote like a short, very rough version of a log line for this story, and I have the Muses are confined to the gates of Mount Olympus and must find a way to share their gifts within the world. And that is very rough because I'm still like a little confused on where I want this story to go. And that's okay. However, you gotta be clear about it before you start writing it. So let's develop that together before we jump into actually outlining, shall we? So we have our characters. Let's just do a brief synopsis. And the great thing about doing it aloud on camera is that it is being recorded. I can always go back and then transcribe it later, which is great. Get all of my thoughts out, dump them, dissect them later. Perfect. It only makes sense. What I'm thinking is we start out, everybody's having a good time on Mount Olympus, and you know, someone's having a hard time. Maybe it is Talia, or maybe it is Terpsichore, or it could be Melpomene because she's always stirring the pot and making a big deal out of everything. Sorry for the extra scratching. My cat is in here. Y'all have seen her before on this channel, and she is digging in a bag because we can't have anything to ourselves in this house. Hey girl. So anyways, synopsis. I'm thinking that Melpomene might be great because of the fact that she's so dramatic. So if we use Melpomene as the one that's like the initiator of leaving because she's so dramatic, that would be a great way to start. So what is our inciting incident though? Ooh, a really cool inciting incident could be, it could be that, alright, this could be fun. So maybe they're grown, maybe they're not young, maybe they're grown, and Hercules is already down on Earth because Zeus said that he could stay down on Earth with Meg. So one thing that's interesting would be if the goddesses, specifically Melpomene, is being dramatic because she's watching Hercules living it up down here with the heathens, and they are up there wishing that they could be heathens too because it's very ghetto down here. And then she's, what happens though? It's gotta be something like super dramatic though. Ooh, okay, maybe she sabotages their performance. I could see that because she's being dramatic. So she's like, I'm not going out on stage because I'm tired of performing for y'all. It's just too much for me. I don't do anything else. I'm not appreciated here, and I'll be further appreciated down on Earth. So let's move. So that's our inciting incident. But it starts out with them like having a good time, and like every night is the same. They perform like the same few songs and they're like, okay, I've had enough. So she starts the fire because she's watching Hercules live it up downstairs. And then she starts enlisting her other sisters that are like on the fence, and she's like, well, we don't have to do that either. And then they end up trying to leave. So I would say that they devise a plan. Like they're trying to create this presentation for their dad Zeus so that they can have the same deal to go down to Earth that Hercules had, right? However, because they're the entertainment, he doesn't want them to go, because then they're like, well, what else would we do up here? Just watch the humans? That's boring. So then some of them leave. Yes, some of them leave. I don't know how they're going to do this. I have to make that part up about how they figure out how to. They make a deal with Hades to get the potion. That turned Hercules human in the first place. So they get the potion and end up escaping down to Earth, and they're having a great time. Just an awesome time. And because they're gods and goddesses, they're like, oh my gosh, I love it down here, and they're perfect. So they're, nothing they do is wrong or, imperfect or quirky or anything. They're just their absolute divine selves, even though they have like weird characteristics, but that is perfection for them. And so when they get here, yeah, they're loving it, and only a few of them are down here on Earth. They're loving it, but then they're like, as time progresses, they see how ghetto it is down here. So then they're like, I don't know about this. But some of them are still like, no, I want to leave. And I think that because Melpomene is like very much so dramatic, I think I want her to end up flipping and being like, you guys know what, I don't actually want to be down here anymore. And they're like, you started all this, you brought us here, you had us drink the potion, now what? So then they have to have their own hero moment, just like Hercules did, and they had to like make Earth better with their gifts so that Zeus will let them come back home. I don't know, is that too much like Hercules? Let me know, because I think that that would be a great way to do this story. I think it'll be fun, and like I said, I don't want it to be something that necessarily is going to be shopped out. I just want to have a good time, even if it's a bad story, to be honest, because I'm not really doing this as thoroughly as I normally would by myself. I'm just taking you through like the general process because I thought that it would be fun. So if this was by myself, I would probably take weeks weeks to do this, but I did all of these details this morning, and the whole synopsis just now I did on the fly completely, and I'm proud of myself for that. I really just vibed out with that. So I'm gonna give myself a hand. I'm gonna give myself a hand for that later on, and I just hope that this turns out really good because I think it'll be fun to write. So we have their inciting incident. Melpomene is like, I'm fed up. They figure out a plan to work with Hades, and then Zeus gets mad at Hades. Why would you do that? So now they owe Hades a favor, and then they get stuck on Earth and they want to come back. Basically the same story, but except it's not revenge on Hades' part. It's just that he wants, I guess it is revenge. It could still be revenge. We could still include Hades. So it's a couple of antagonists. I think I'll flesh it out a little bit more next time once I go through the footage, and then come back to you guys with the actual synopsis. So I'll probably write it down after and then read it to you guys so that it's nice, crisp, and clear, and then we can get into our outlining next episode. I'm so excited. So I think we're done for this episode. The next video, it'll likely be a little bit longer because we're going to get into more of our story and get into the outlining process. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I really hope that you guys like this style of video. I hope that it's kind of like flowing better. Like I said last time, this is all new to me, but I wanted to create something that I don't usually see, and especially not for people that look like me here on the internet. So I thought that this would be a fun activity for me and you guys, and just to get some writing done. And so comment down below, please, if you liked it. And if you have any other ideas, if you have any critiques, I'm for all the feedbacks. And like it, share it with a friend that would enjoy it. All the Disney fans and all the writing and creative fans, please share it with a friend that would enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you join the family, and I hope to see you guys in a brand new video real soon. Bye.